This one is for some of the local folks that I know stalk my various social media pages to see what I've got to say. But always stay quiet. If you have to lie or subtly embellish what it is you can and cannot do, or what it is exists and doesn't exist in order to get elected, then you're not worthy of the votes that you're asking for. There's a local candidate running for village trustee in the next town over in Minooka by the name of Josh Dell, who sounds like a very nice young man, but he is running a rather aggressive campaign for village trustee. And when I say aggressive, he is putting some money into this. Multiple posts that are promoted, that are paid promotion, professional looking videos with voiceovers that aren't just done on your computer. Some of the most and biggest signs in town. He putting a lot of money into a village trustee position. He seems like the kind of guy to me that has higher aspirations, right? Like the kind of guy that, in my opinion, in a couple of years, if he wins this trustee election, will be running for state senator or state rep, and eventually maybe actually running for Congress at some point in time. It just seems like it's just a feeling I get that this is a stepping stone for him. But nonetheless, his campaign is one that is insinuating that things are going to happen that cannot happen, and insinuating he's going to bring things to the town that already exist. For example, you can see in this paid Facebook ad, vote for lower taxes and a safer Minooka. Vote for lower taxes. This gentleman is running on a platform trying to bring a massive data center into town. And he is telling the people who he is asking to vote for him that if elected and if he gets this data center in town, that he will use the revenue from that data center to lower property taxes. That never happens. Just make sure that we're all dealing in reality here. Bringing industry into town almost never results in lower property taxes for the residents of that town. It prevents residential property taxes from skyrocketing because you put more of the tax burden on the industries. That's true. But he is running on a platform where he is making people who are voting for him believe that if he's elected, he's going to lower their property taxes. He can't do that. He can't do that alone, that's for sure. And last I checked, the village board doesn't set your property taxes. It actually is done by a separate entity. But maybe I'm wrong on the way it works in Minooka. At least that's not how it works in Shannon. But you see here, vote for lower taxes. So let's take a look at some of the things that he's got going on here. Forgive me, I'm old. He says lower taxes. Josh Dell was the only candidate who showed up to support lower taxes and supported lower taxes at the village board meetings. Congratulations, man. I mean, everybody wants lower property taxes. Doesn't mean that you can do it. And that's what you're insinuating that you can do, and people are voting for you based on that insinuation. You see here it says oppose the intermodal. So in our area, trucking and warehousing is the big industry. There is no stopping it. It's not going anywhere. And in our town, in Shanahan, there's going to be a new CN, Canadian Northern Intermodal Rail Yard, going in hundreds of acres, which is going to mean even more increased truck traffic. And some of that truck traffic is going to go through his town of Minooka. That project is not going to be stopped. There are people in town that think they're going to stop the project, that also thought they were going to stop other major trucking projects that when they failed, but this is not even a question of whether or not the town stop it. It's the railroad. They already own the land. They've poured millions of dollars into this development already. There is no stopping it. This gentleman is insinuating, not promising, but insinuating that he can get it stopped or he can limit the amount of truck traffic going through town. You can't. And even if you did get this project stopped, every town around us is continuing to add more warehouses, which means there are going to be more trucks on our roads. So no, you cannot lower truck traffic. Not to mention the fact that Minooka itself has already approved multiple warehouses and factories that bring in more trucks. So he's insinuating that he can lower your property taxes, and he's insinuating that he can prevent a major project from going through and reduce the number of trucks going through town, both of which cannot happen. And then you see here he's got responsible spending, ACEs, digital infrastructure. You can see here he talks about if elected, he's going to be the guy to bring you fiber optic internet to Manuka. The problem with that is Manuka already has fiber optic service. It already exists. And there are other providers that can hop in through AT&T's fiber optics. They already have what he's telling people he's going to bring. So, he's making the voters of his community believe that he can lower their property taxes. He's making the voters of his community believe that he can stop a project that he can't stop. He's making the voters of his community believe that he can reduce truck traffic that he cannot reduce. And he's making the voters of his community believe that he's the one that's going to bring them something that already exists in their town. All while backing, as I already mentioned, this large data center project, which he wants because he says it's a way to bring in more jobs and more tax revenue with less truck traffic. All of which is true, that it's not going to require more truck traffic than any other type of project like warehouses and factories of that nature. But what he doesn't want to mention, or what he fails to mention, I should say, is that it's going to use, that project has already been reported to be chew up a third of the town's drinking water. The towns around here all have their own wells, and they're all part of, 4 of the towns are part of this big $1 billion deal to extend Lake Michigan drinking water from the city of Chicago out here to our area. And these 4 towns have an agreement that they're going to split the cost to get this Lake Michigan drinking water out here. And as a result of that, each town is going to be allotted a certain amount of water. This one project would chew up a third of all of that town's allotted drinking water. In addition to that, it would require enough electricity to power half of the homes in the city of Chicago, half or a third of the homes in the city of Chicago. It's a shit ton of electricity that it would require. And as a result of that, ComEd has already predicted that because of data centers like this, our area is going to see a 40% increase in our power costs over the course of the next 10 to 15 years. So, he's promising things he can't deliver. He's insinuating he can do things that he cannot do. He's offering things that already exist in town. He's supporting a project that's going to drastically harm the resources of the town, and ultimately will end up in all of us paying more for our energy prices. If you have to fib, insinuate, or flat out lie about what your positions are, what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot deliver, then people shouldn't be voting for you.